2 years ago, World Bank economist named Anne Lemore made an analysis where she basically very rough concluded that probably of the international aid being paid to the Palestinian territories, about 47% ends up in Israel. In September this year, a new study was published by an Israeli organization called Alternative Information Center. I should maybe say they counted more widely, but in their calculations it says that 72% of the international aid are actually ending up in the Israeli economy. So basically we have a situation where we, to help people under occupation, are paying most of the money to the occupier. And if we are then also trying to analyze this situation, are we really putting pressure on both of the parties, or all three of the parties, we should say, in this conflict, to end and to make a peace agreement? It can actually be seriously questioned. While we have serious sanctions on the Palestinian side, it's still so that we are giving Israel the most favored treatment from the European Union as the most favored nation. It's not only so that I think this can be doubted from a perspective if it's constructive or not, but as an organization also in general trying to deal with the situation for human rights in a lot of countries around the world. We already know that what has happened is that the European Union has actually given away, or should we say, given exceptions to Israel in the demands. Normally, European Union has a lot of demands, as you would know, when you're making trade agreements, that you say that it's even in the European legislation that we should use our soft power or trade agreements to also promote the practice of human rights. In the case of Israel, as opposite to case of, for example, trade agreements with Moldavia, with a number of other countries, where the human rights, the respect for human rights has actually been a part of the agreements, it has been said that this should not be a part of the agreements with Israel. So what we now see is that countries like Egypt, Morocco, Libya, Syria are also saying that why should we then improve if Israel doesn't have to improve. So we are creating a situation where we're actually undermining the general respect for human rights, especially in the Northern African region.
The EU has signed 2 agreements, one with Israel and one with the PA. I think it were a reward for them because they engaged in the peace process and concluded the Oslo agreements. Away from Article 2 of the accession agreement that would make clear that human rights to be respected and the parties to the agreement to respect the human rights, and away from this, it's in the history of the agreements that never a third party would ban others from fulfilling obligations under the agreements. In this case, Israel is a third party depriving and preventing Europe and the PA from fulfilling their obligations under the accession agreement, because Europe want to export or to import from the Palestine and the PA want to export. They cannot do it, not because they don't have the will, the political will or whatever, technical will, but because Israel is denying them. Israel is saying, no, you cannot import or export because of the closure of other policies. So imagine this. Away from the Palestinians, who cares about the Palestinians? I mean, talking about the dignity and the respect of Europe. Is this acceptable or not? I mean, we talked about the bombardment of projects in Gaza funded by the EU. Even the port of Gaza was, the flag of the EU was waving there and was bombarded, and nothing has been done. So it's really bizarre how this can be tolerated. This is one thing. Second, which also I think, just to give an example regarding the shipment, before the year 2005, a container from China to Ashdod port in Israel cost $2,000, and the shipment by land, ground shipment from Ashdod airport to Karni, I mean to the borders with Gaza, which is 40 kilometers, cost $2,000. So all the way along from China, 2,000, and those 40 meters, this is because of their security arrangements that they have to follow and they have to pay. So a big portion of the humanitarian aid that comes to Gaza is being deducted for those arrangements, and they have to pay. So the money that's being sent to Gaza, not all of it comes to Gaza. Yeah, this is the point that raised by one.
I think that you very well illustrated the situation, that it's not only the Israel and Hamas and the PA that can actually be questioned, or that we can actually question the policy of those three actors, but we should also look at ourselves and our political strategy in Sweden and also the European Union and see if we are really coherent in our strive and, as we say, fight to strengthen the role of human rights. We and Amnesty International are so grateful to you, Issam.
Thank you.
Not only for coming here and sharing your experience.
Enjoying the freeze. And
enjoying the freeze, being experienced. I know that you will also go back to Gaza now and write a very critical report of the human rights of the smoker community in the Scandinavian countries. Discrimination. Of course we will have to accept this, and as human rights organization we will bring up this issue with our government. Seriously, I think that also when you go back to Gaza, you should know that our deep, not only gratitude, but our admiration for the work that you and your colleagues are doing. That you are a true voice of the rights of the civil population in an area of conflict. And we know that you have to take your fights with both the fact with everybody. Exactly. I know that you were joking about this, that if everybody's angry at you, you're somewhere right. But I also know that this is a part of your daily life, and I think we admire this very much. And just to emphasize the importance of the work that you're doing and the importance of independent voices from Gaza. So thanks again, and please also bring these greetings to all your colleagues.
I'll do. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the nice work. Thank you. Thank you so much.